Hello, wonderful people. How's it going? Today, we're bringing you something slightly different, but at the same time, the same. This is a minisode of Expressions of Happiness. This just gives us little 10-minute bursts where we get to talk about a topic that we have either experienced in recent time or we've stumbled across, and we want to have that quick, snappy, sharp conversation. And our conversation today is obviously with our main man here, David Hart.
Hey. Hello.
Sup, bro?
Sup. Sorry, did you want more enthusiasm there?
You can give a little bit more.
Hey!
Oh, and we've peaked. Okay, fantastic. That's classic. That's the audio ruined. But the topic we're going to talk about today is around exercise, because very recently our main man here, David Hart, got involved in something that is of a disgusting nature, I would go as far to say, but also heroic and very, very impressive. Mr. David Hart did an ultra marathon. Now, David, what led you to that decision to go, you know what, I want my body to fall apart running over 40 miles?
Sure. I mean, I suppose I didn't frame it that way when I embarked on this mission.
No?
No.
That's how I would have.
No, you know, the overarching mission isn't to self-destruct or denigrate my body to a point of disrepair. But what influenced me or impressioned me to do it? Last year I did a whole host of challenges that if people wish to see and know more of.
We actually did a whole string of conversations for it, if you can remember.
We did. Yeah, vaguely in my disorientated haze.
Suppressed memory.
I did a whole bunch of challenges, and whilst it was tremendously hard, I found it also deeply enriching and fulfilling to kind of work through a lot of that hardship. And it kind of gave me a sort of a renewed sense of purpose, I guess. And I enjoy embarking on these challenges, understanding what's required of my body and my mind, and trying to marriage all of those things together. So this year I've done a marathon, a half marathon, and then kind of finished the grand tour with an ultra marathon. And it was kind of just an act of inquiry and curiosity into what that would feel like and how I should overcome it.
When you were training for that, what did you find to be the most overwhelming challenge? Was it a physical thing or was it a mental thing?
I would say it was probably a mental thing, because the nature of the training, it required me to do lots of long runs. And these long runs would...
What was your longest run in prep?
Longest run was 50k, so that's 31 miles. And that's basically means that, you know, you're out and you're on your feet for, you know, the first 4 or 5 hours of your day. And it's a time in which you're practicing your nutrition and your pacing strategies and all of those things. But then what it does do is it creates a level of fatigue that is difficult to manage. And then
took a lot of thought to reach manage there.
I would say.
What's the articulate point I'm trying to make here? Yeah, that's it. Manage. Yeah,
but it's true because I have lots of other things I'd like to do. You know, running means a lot to me, but also it's not my entire identity. So, you know, it's my one day off in the week is when that long run would fall for me. And yeah, it just, the level of fatigue I was under meant that I didn't have the mental clarity or cognition to actually do the things I wanted to do. So I'd just say that over the course of, and over the weeks of training, it's actually the mental wear rather than the physical wear that's much harder.
And then how long did you spend training for this?
I spent the specific training I spent about 3-4 months doing it.
And that's post-marathon, so you'd obviously been building up to that point anyway, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's post-marathon, post-faster half-marathon. So, you know, I'd had a lot of training in the legs already past year.
Yeah, and I mean, even though I'm not living with you this time, I obviously knew how much time you were spending, because every time I'd catch you on a Wednesday to record like a Nauki Nerds or something, you were pretty cooked. You didn't quite know what was going on.
Yeah.
But you did look like you were in running fit shape, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, and that's if anything else, that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I hope so anyway.
Yeah, just completely get it wrong, just to become an absolute gym rat. just I don't think this is going to work out for you. So the race came. What was the race that you did?
So it's a pretty low-key race. Not many participants do the ultra. They run a marathon, a 10K, and a half marathon on the same day. But basically, you start in Ely, outside of the cathedral, and then you run to Cambridge, navigating through various trails, bike paths, country roads, and it's an out and back. So you get to Cambridge, and then you run back the way you came.
Monstrous.
Total of
monstrous.
Yeah. So total of 41.5 miles.
Yeah. Wow. So give me some highlights and lowlights of the start, the middle, and the end. What was it like actually finally reaching that starting line and getting going? What was happening in the middle, and then how did it feel to finish?
Yeah, I mean, with all my races, I set a time goal, and two, I like to try and visualize exactly what each moment will feel like, so that when I enter that point, I've kind of already imagined myself in that position. So yeah, start the race. You have a few nerves. You feel confident. You're ready to try and execute your plan, which for me on this particular occasion was a lofty goal of running a sub 6 hour 41 miler, which
it reminds me of Grand Designs when they say at the very start of the project, I'm going to run it in this time. And did you come in over budget?
I came in over budget. I did. Yeah. I had never tackled that distance before. So I set myself a goal of sub 6 hours. So I'd say
good start time,
which is, so first half went brilliantly. Actually, like, my nutrition was great. I felt full of energy. I was on course to do it. Great pacing. And luckily it's a relatively flat course, so you don't have to deal with too many inclines, declines. Then I'd say around sort of the marathon mark or just after is when things got difficult, which is kind of like past the middle part of the race. I'd say it's like 3/4 of the way through. Just had some real breathing issues, really sort of shallow breaths. So I had to sort of power walk, do intermittent power walking / running. And then, the latter stages of the race, managed to find some resolve and some energy, ran for a good 5 or 6 miles, and then last 2 miles was a wincing grind of just power walking to the end.
But I mean, it's almost, considering that's your first ever one, that feels like quite an expected experience where you haven't run that distance before. It's a different terrain at the end of the day, even if it is still flat. And I still think it comes back to the mental point that you made, that like it's often about the mental battle. But when you started to reach that point where you needed to walk, actually you did maintain, like, I'm not, the main thing here is that I'm going to finish this race. And what time did you end up achieving in the end?
So I did 6 hours and 40 minutes,
which is still astronaut. You ran for 6 hours and 40 minutes. Like, that is an absolute feat of accomplishment. So I mean, it's great.
Thank you.
It's great that we're able to sort of get that out there as a motivating factor from someone that 2 years ago had enjoyed running but had never really covered like huge distances. And then you did the big challenge last year. You've then run a half marathon, a marathon, and now an ultra marathon. I mean, the sky's the limit. What's the next on the agenda, do you think?
So next is the Cambridge half marathon, which I'd love to go sub 1 hour 30 for that. But I don't want to reveal too much, but I've got a lot planned for next year in terms of the scale of what I would like to do. So all will be revealed, but that just requires quite a big dramatic shift in my training. So a lot more strength and conditioning work to come.
All I thought of when you did that was like the reel or the meme of where it's like someone in the darkness going, "Big things coming soon. Watch this space," to keep that audience enticed.
Yeah, exactly. But but one thing I do want to know when you're talking there, just very quickly about just finishing reevaluating your goals in real time. That was the biggest thing I learned from this race and from all the races I've done so far. I set lofty goals. I'm an ambitious person. I try to achieve them. But what I also have learned from each of these races is that it's important you're able to have a level of flexibility so that you can still finish in a manner that is fit for your person. So when I couldn't get my sub 6 hour, I really evaluated my goal and said, here we're just going to keep moving. No matter what happens, your primary goal right now is to just not stop, regardless of whatever the time may be. And that's exactly what I did.
That's a good maintenance, good check-in on the ego as well, for making sure that you couldn't, if you didn't hit that top goal. It's about actually still seeing that there's so many goals that exist within the whole practice itself.
Exactly.
Well, huge work from you, my man.
Thank you.
And it feels like a fitting way to open up our little mini-sodes. Check in, because there's going to be plenty more of these. It's obviously very difficult in our working lives to get loads and loads of podcasts done like we would absolutely love to.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we're still checking in with you and sharing a little bit of happiness in the world. So we hope you enjoyed that little first introduction to the mini-sode, and we'll see you later on.